Okay, this is the J. Allen Enterprise chassis by MDT. I picked it up in September about a year ago, so I've been shooting it during that time. And I noticed that most of the YouTube reviews online right now are all industry, talking head, chill type people. So, being a nobody, not a YouTuber, I thought I could make an honest review. And the bottom line up front is that it's just not that good, and it certainly doesn't command the price that they're asking for it. So I'll explain that in some more depth here over some B-roll so I can get better audio, and then we'll do some shooting so you can see it in action. So enjoy. The basis for my opinion is a comparison with other similar systems within the competitive shooting sphere, which is primarily where I reside, but I feel as though it's generally where MDT marketed this. Where it costs substantially more than a lot of these other systems, you would expect it to outperform, but in reality, I think it underperforms in pretty much every case. It's less modular, less robust, and I'll get into that more later. Starting at the back here, you've got a length of pull adjustment, which is completed by adding and removing shims, right? Which we know is kind of a clumsy and outdated system. Oh, and by the way, the shims are going to run you about $100 each. For another $100 or so, you can get the bag rider, which is a little chintzy, feels like an afterthought, and didn't fit my chassis very well. I don't know if that's the case across the board. The cheek riser was great initially. I really liked the way it came off quickly, but after about a year or so, it's worn out and is now loose and rattles around. The grip, you're going to have vertical or swept shipped with it, which is nice, but neither include provisions for a thumb rest. Now is probably a good time to mention all of these black oxide screws you see, and there's got to be like 50 or so of them. The first time you take this out in the rain, and you shoot like a full match in the rain, they're all going to rust before you get back to the hotel. Wouldn't be a problem, and it isn't on most other systems because there's a couple. You take them out and clean them, no big deal. But where there's 50, and I'll put an image up here, and that's only like half of them there on the image, it's a problem. So I had to replace them all with stainless, which for what you pay should have been what MDT did initially, right? The adjustable mag well is mentioned a lot in the promotional materials. In my experience, I've only found it to be another point of failure, but if you're using non-standard mags, it might be the thing for you. The front rail section is a train wreck. It's M-LOK in spirit only, where M-LOK is typically 1024 pitch. This is 1032 fine. So any attachments you get, you can throw that hardware right away and go out to the hardware store and get new ones. But you got to make sure they're the right length because it's a very narrow margin between being too long and too short. Also, even if you get the right hardware, these extrusions between the holes are going to block a lot of your attachments where there should be slots, right? Furthermore, there's no opportunity for internal weights. This Arca rail section that they sell, if they sold that in steel, it would solve that issue, but I don't expect we'll ever see any more support for this system. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it's discontinued entirely. These plastic sections, the red and white sections, initially they said that they'd be available for sale separately, which was a huge selling point for me because I Cerakote on my own, right? The idea being that you buy a handful of them, paint them all up, and then when you want to change, you just slap them on. You don't have to disassemble the whole rifle and blast it down, but here we are a year later, and we haven't seen anything. All in all, not a great buy. I don't really recommend it. We took it out to the range for you here. I apologize for the audio. It was windy, and there's only one target because somebody stole them. But yeah, here's some shooting.
All right.
want to try and send some of this bad, Larry.
Yeah, go for it. Damn, my fucking target. Those dicks.
Yeah, that fucking blows, man.